Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's Activity Strong webinar for resident engagement professionals. My name is Charles Vilmorin, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Linked Senior. So welcome, everyone. You're in very good hands today for 1 hour of amazing programs. I want to start off by sharing how important this day is for me personally. As you know, Link Senior initiated this platform called Activity Strong. We also have this other initiative called All People Are Cool. I want to share the fact that none of this would truly exist as is without the help and the leadership and the creativity and initiative of Megan. So Megan, thank you so much for all that you do with Link Senior and for our elders. Today is also an important day because Megan is actually going to be taking the floor. So I'm just going to share a few announcements when it comes to CUs, and then we'll get started. So for today's webinar, we are providing 1 free NAB, NCAP, NCCDP, NCTRC, and NZSRDT CU credits. To be eligible for the CU credit, you need to remain on this webinar for the full hour. At the end of the webinar, I will provide the required post-webinar CU survey evaluation link in the webinar room chat box, and we'll also send it by email this afternoon. If you don't see it in your email, please check your spam folder. The survey must be completed by midnight Eastern Time this Thursday. If you have any questions, please email us at webinars, with an S, webinars@linkedsenior.com. And CU's certificate will be issued by email before the end of the day on Friday, March 18th. Ted, I want to personally thank you for joining us today. You're now in excellent hand with Megan, Director of Strategic Development at Link Senior. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Hi, everyone. As Charles said, my name is Megan McMahon, and I am the Director of Strategic Development here at Link Senior. I joined the Link Senior team full-time this past November, and I am a very proud co-producer of the Activity Strong virtual event series alongside Charles. So as many of you know, our team does believe in a world where all people of all ages are respected and valued. And that is why we started our Old People Are Cool initiative in 2017. And we also believe that activity and life enrichment professionals are incredible and are our industry's unsung heroes, which is why we created the Activity Strong initiative 2 years ago to acknowledge, educate, and empower each of you. We are very excited to be working with so many forward-thinking communities across the United States and Canada, and we do look forward to bringing on more communities with us in the weeks and months ahead. At Link Senior, we work every day to enhance life in senior communities by building simple and evidence-based solutions to bring person-centered experiences to older adults and their care partners. Our technology focuses on engagement, connection, and celebration of individuality. In 2018, we did partner with the Responsive Group in Toronto and Western Oregon University to research our impact on resident engagement with funding from the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation. Results from this study showed that our technology increases cognitive functioning and social engagement for residents, and it decreases aggression and antipsychotic medication use. So I am very excited today to be able to introduce Ted Hudson, who will be talking about elder wisdom, stories to challenge ageism. Ted is the Senior Manager of Digital Marketing at Schlegel Villages. Ted is an incredible advocate for older adults, and he will share more today about his work building the Elder Wisdom campaign. Ted?
Thanks, Megan and Charles. Excited to be here. I heard you guys were an amazing audience. So looking forward to going through this presentation with you today. As long as I can figure out sharing my screen. You can see that.
Yeah, we can. Thanks, Ted.
Very good. Thank you. All right. So the Elder Wisdom campaign has been around for quite a while now, and looking forward to sharing some of these pieces with you and how we've adapted over the last couple of years with the pandemic as well. So today we'll look at combating ageism, connecting intergenerationally, and physical and virtual conversations on the green bench. The green bench you see there is the symbol of our campaign that was designed. This session, we will run through the history of the campaign. We are run by Schlegel Villages. I am the Senior Manager of Digital Marketing at Schlegel Villages, and it was built in this role. Tips to unlocking the wisdom of our elders. Combating ageism that can be simple. Virtual conversations through podcasting. So hopefully some of you are podcast listeners, because it's exciting that we launched a podcast as well. So I'll share more on that. A little bit more about me. Megan did a great job highlighting me there. I joined Schlegel Villages as a recreation team member in 2003. Spent 13 years as an activities professional before moving into a marketing role. The moment that got me connected to senior living was as a teenager. And I like sharing this story. In grade 9, we have a Take Your Kid to Work Day program. And I went with my neighbor, who was the director of recreation at a retirement home, and spent the day there with her, continued after that volunteering. That's kind of the pathway that drove me into senior living, and been in it for many years now. I've been with the organization about 20 years as where I am today. And the marketing role, I still pull in some of those recreation programs and activities, such as the Green Bench. Today, I get the privilege of learning alongside our elders, and through the Green Bench program, I get to sit on the bench myself and hear the many stories and wisdom shared. As a senior manager of digital marketing, we strive to continue to share the stories of seniors living at Schlegel Villages, whether that is through events at the villages or programs planned like our Elder Wisdom campaign. All these photos were taken from different events over the years of me sitting on the bench and learning from the seniors that we serve. Wisdom of the Elder came to Schlegel Villages as a signature program in 2010. It includes programs such as the Pursuit of Passions, the Schlegel Olympics, the Talent Show, Masterpiece Galas, Festival of Flavors. A note on the Schlegel Olympics, it's actually happening this week at Schlegel Villages, pushed from February to this month, where the residents get to participate and compete in different activities through that. Our founder, Ron Schlegel, as you see on the screen there, in 2010 had a dream. The dream was more about how do we share more of the wisdom of the elder within the villages that we work in. So it's in its original format. The program enabled residents to share their experiences and wisdom in the villages and the broader community through large events, such as the ones I listed. The program has evolved as a way of life. We engage residents in village life, which fosters purpose, meaning, and growth. It also creates opportunities in which residents can contribute to their community in meaningful ways. The hashtag Elder Wisdom came into to play when I moved into a digital marketing role within the organization, and I needed to figure out a way to bring some of the things that we were already doing in our villages to our social media platforms, and have a story that other people can engage in. So Elder Wisdom, lots of conversation on building that hashtag, but Elder Wisdom was built out of that mission to use it on social media. The goal of Elder Wisdom are to encourage conversations between generations, to encourage seniors to share their voices and their stories, and to challenge the stigma and ageism older adults face in society. It reminds us of the wealth of wisdom older adults offer, and in doing so helps restore them to a place of reverence. In our 6th year, the Green Bench has been a symbol of elder wisdom. Physically or virtually, the bench invites us all to sit alongside a senior, share a conversation, or give and offer advice. Here's a short clip from our Wisdom of the Elder events that this one's from 2017. It is available on YouTube.
I guess I was conditioned that this is the way life is.
I had 2 daughters, and they both were transferred out to Ontario. I was in Montreal all alone and feeling very lonesome.
Very honestly, this is my 2nd nursing home, and the emphasis now is totally different. I'm alive, and I'm proud to share what I have and to receive. It's very important to me.
I believe in hard work. You shine just for me.
I didn't really know. It's been more that as I've interacted with the seniors, the stories they shared with me, what they learned from their life, it just inspired me. So I said, we've got to hear more. Those stories reflect a wisdom that they have. It's one thing to have knowledge, but it's another thing to have wisdom. And wisdom only comes with experience and having lived a life of applying that knowledge.
The Schlegel is very positive about encouraging conversation. They bring us to that point where we want to share.
I think it's important to show people what your passion is. We all have a passion. Some people don't think they do have one, but everyone does.
You open yourself, you just open your heart, your mind, soul, spirit to sharing and growing with others.
It doesn't matter whether you're 8 or you're 80, you can still show your passion.
So we want you to tell the world what drives you, what motivates you, why you've done the things you've done in your life, how it's influenced other people, how it's influenced young people. We need all ages, but we particularly need the wisdom of the elder.
There's still opportunity to live and to express yourself, and it's encouraging not just to do it, but to have that reception from Schlegel that says, yes, you can. And I get that a lot. I really do, and I love it. I thrive on that.
So that was an event that was hosted at a nice hall where all the villages, we have 19 villages across Ontario, all 19 villages sent residents to participate, and it was called the Pursuit of Passions event, where the residents had a display. They shared what their passions were with each other, and it's amazing watching at these events how they go and interact with each other. They sit on the green bench and they share their stories with one another. But it's also a great opportunity for our team members who are working day in and day out with the residents across the organization to sit down and learn and build relationships with each other through that program. So these events happen annually across the organization. Hopefully we can get back to in-person events, but like I said, the Olympics are on this week and it is a virtual event, but we're hoping that still there's a connection between the seniors across the organization. So the Elder Wisdom campaign, I mentioned, we launched in 2016. The Green Bench plan for 2016 was to take this green bench to a variety of cities where our villages are and put it into a prominent spot, whether it's out front of a city hall, in a city park, on a busy intersection somewhere, that there's going to be people that are passing by, and we encourage people to come and sit on that bench and join that elder and learn and share with that person. So we visited 13 cities in the first year, closing off with Toronto, right downtown Toronto, right outside the CN Tower, where we had 15 benches, I believe it was. And I think it was about 20 elders that were with us that day. And we welcomed the media and the counselors and the mayors and storytellers and anybody that would be willing to come and sit on the bench and share their experience with others on social media. The green bench has that hashtag on there, so it was a good photo op for people. And we got lots of attention around that. So the next year we changed it up a little bit, and we put the benches and the residents into 16 different local schools. They were high schools, they were elementary schools. 80 residents, 80 seniors from our villages visited, and there was over 500 youth. Hard to count in the classes. Some schools brought all the students to the gym, and the residents sat at the front of the room and shared their stories with the students, and questions were being asked and all that. So we tried that out because we thought we would get a better social media impact in a different audience. There was value in being in the schools, but we didn't get the social media that we expected from the youth that were there. Media still caught it and stuff like that, but the youth weren't posting on their social media as we thought they would. So the next year 2018, we decided to go back out to the community, and we visited 15 city locations that year. Same thing, benches and residents in prominent locations, and inviting people to come and sit and join. 2019, we visited 13 cities, cut that back a little bit. We started teaming up some of the villages so that we'd have more people at the events. And we wanted to hit the cities that are local to our villages. But we also added in some virtual events that year, including Twitter chats and Facebook Live events and stuff like that to benefit our digital audience. And then it says we joined 3 community events. So those were either conferences or fairs or stuff like that we were invited to participate in that year. So we started getting people asking us to come and be part of their events. And then in 2020, due to the pandemic, we had to stop our public events, and we moved to a digital series of videos. So again, we had 19 villages where the residents sat and did an interview digitally with our video company. And then they put together 2.5-minute clips of each resident. So we have 19 videos in a series. They can be found on YouTube or on our social media platforms. And you're welcome to watch those, and just short little clips to involve our residents out in the community. And we shared that out during the month of June in 2020. One of the reasons we chose June as our month, as in Canada, it is Seniors Month. So we benefit that story and highlight the seniors during Seniors Month as well. In October of 2020, from the success of the Stories from the Green Bench video series, we were talking a lot about launching a podcast, and built that out. And we did a test run of the podcast in October of 2020 with 6 episodes for the end of the year. Successful in that, our podcast continued through 2021. I don't have that note here, but 2021, our podcast was our feature for the year. And we've continued doing that even into 2022. We're still recording and launching episodes. In June of 2022, we will be back out in the community. And we're very excited about that. We likely will cut back from multiple, like 15 cities like we had. We'll probably do 5 or 6 larger events through the year, or through the month of June. And at select locations where the villages will get together in the one location, like we did in the first year in Toronto, where the villages came together at the one event. So we're very excited to start planning that. So in June, you will see the story of our green bench back out in the media and across our social media platforms. A little bit about ageism. So just wanted to note, ageism was not the driver of the Elder Wisdom campaign, but it very quickly became that relevant conversation as part of our campaign as we were out and about. Ageism is something that's talked about all over the place. The World Health Organization describes it as ageism refers to the stereotypes, the prejudice, and discrimination towards others or oneself based on age. So the stereotypes on how we think, the prejudice on how we feel, and discrimination on how we act. Great definitions, great resources and tools on the World Health Organization's website. Ageism affects everyone, regardless of your age, but it is more prevalent in seniors. Talks about children as young as 4 years old become aware of their culture's age stereotypes. From that age onward, they internalize and use these stereotypes to guide their feelings and behavior towards people of different ages. Like I talked about in my intro, at age 13 in grade 9 and take your kid to work day, that's when I learned about seniors and senior living, and that's what drove me into the role that I'm in today. So knowing that if we can highlight seniors to those younger audiences, that their perception will change for their future years. Where is ageism seen? Ageism is everywhere, from our institutions and relationships to ourselves. For example, ageism is in policies that support healthcare rationing by age practices and limit younger people's opportunities to contribute to decision-making in the workplace. Quite interesting that it is one of those last acceptable isms that are out there that we talk about. So it is very hard to determine key pieces of ageism that you might have to change. Like I know my grandfather always said that's a senior's moment. So the seniors themselves are in a way laughing at themselves and saying it's a senior's moment, that all seniors have memory loss or have the challenges, but it's not that. We need to get rid of that perception of seniors in general. It self-limits behavior. It stems from internalized stereotypes about what a person of a given age can be or can do. And it is a problem. It says half of the world's population is ageist against older people. And in Europe, the only region for which data is available on all age groups, younger people report more age discrimination than other age groups. So in Europe, they're talking about ageism affects, the younger audience more than the rest of the world. Can we combat ageism is the question. It's a high level question that I think we can all support in combating ageism. 3 strategies work in reducing or eliminating ageism: policy and law. Tougher to focus on in policy and law. You need to get those policymakers and lawmakers on top of things to get that changed. Educational activities, which we're doing like today. This is more of an educational activity, and we can have those sessions all over the place, as well as intergenerational interventions like the green bench and having the youth sit on the bench and sit with a senior, or opportunities where the seniors are in schools or connecting through, say it's a science fair and you want to invite the public to come into the science fair and learn and share. Why not invite the local retirement home to come by and participate in that day? So everybody can participate in combating ageism. Some tips to unlocking the wisdom of elders in our communities. We have to consider what can be done to create a society where people in later life can feel a better sense of inclusion and participation. Convening conversations that matter for people in older age groups is a way to alleviate isolation and loneliness. These conversations may be with large or small groups, or even with one other person. Rather than simply showing up for these discussions, we have the opportunity to more consciously convene these conversations that matter. We've created, as part of our Elder Wisdom campaign, some images like this with quotes. And as we gain these pieces, nuggets of wisdom from the seniors that we serve, we like to share those around. So wisdom is taking what you have learned and spreading it around so others can learn from it. So that was Donald at one of the villages. Some of the tips we're going to highlight over the next few slides are creating a space, authentic listening, engaging everyone, asking great questions, and creative accessibility. So I'll run into those. So first off, in creating a space for a conversation, whether it is on the Elder Wisdom bench, an in-person group discussion, or virtually on a podcast. So moving this little window out of my way. Before the beginning of the conversation, creating a spacious container for the conversation should be a high priority. For a conversation that matters with one other person, we must create an environment where we can give our full attention without the risk of interruptions. For groups of any size, in-person gatherings require a physical space designed for comfort, safety, and authentic engagement. Virtual gatherings bring different requirements and protocols, and with a focus on the interactions, you can make your virtual gathering successful for all. Consider the spaces around you. Do they encourage conversations? Think of how your furniture is set up. Are seats turned so that you are facing another person, or are they all set up looking out the window or at the television? Sitting in a circle versus a rectangle table ensures everyone feels involved and engaged in the conversation, no matter who is talking. It also reinforces the idea that each person is allowed equal right to participate, as illustrated by the circular shape. Is your space welcoming? We decided on the Elder Wisdom bench for our campaign because a bench is welcoming of strangers to sit, and it encourages conversation. The use of a bench to promote conversations is not a unique idea. There are happy to chat benches, talking park bench, friendship benches, buddy benches, and many others. All around the world, people are using benches to encourage conversations. In all cases, benches are welcoming to a conversation. The message attached to the bench is the extra encouraging boost someone may need to take that seat. Public benches are an asset which enable people to participate in society using the simplest of communal resources. A well-positioned and well-used bench can help to facilitate interactions and create a sense of belonging and place within the bustle of the urban landscape. So that's why the bench was chosen, and we're not taking credit for the bench use and encouraging conversations, but the message that comes with that bench, highlighting the seniors that we serve and the wisdom that they have to offer. As part of our Elder Wisdom events, we invite media, community influencers to join in and spread the message. And I wanted to share this short clip from CBC News that actually pushed the Elder Wisdom campaign over the top. And we had calls and emails and media outlets wanting to talk to us from it. This video is available on social media platforms from CBC News. It actually had over 1 million views across the social platforms. What I loved the best about it was the comments that people were making. They were highlighting their local councillors and their mayors and their cities to say, can we get this bench, right? Why is it only here? Why are you traveling around? We need to put these in permanently. We need these benches to encourage people to sit with seniors. And yes, we travel around. The benches aren't permanent in the places that we bring them, but it's that symbol and that message that we put in place. So I'll let you watch this short clip here.
It's very important because when you're getting older, you feel like alone. You feel like nobody cares anymore.
You know, when I get to be about your age, I hope that a nice young person stops and talks to me occasionally.
Relationship advice, be careful. That's all.
And we appreciated CBC News sharing that clip, and really every other media outlet wanted to be part of that campaign. So I'm sure this June we will reach back out to them and see what we can build up. But having those influencers share that message helps to spread that word. You don't need a bench. You could actually have those conversations with seniors, whether it's just go into your retirement home, volunteer, anything like that, or reach out to your own grandparents, great grandparents, and share that story with them. The second one on our list is authentic listening, genuinely caring about the stories being shared and giving every opportunity to allow the speaker to complete their train of thought. So in here, we talk about paying attention. Give the speaker your undivided attention and acknowledge the message. Recognize that nonverbal communication also speaks loudly, such as looking at the speaker directly, put aside distracting thoughts, don't mentally prepare a rebuttal, avoid being distracted by environmental factors, for example, side conversations. Show that you're listening. Use your own body language and gestures to show that you are engaged. Nod occasionally, smile, and use other facial expressions. Make sure that your posture is open and interested. Encourage the speaker to continue with small verbal comments like yes and uh-huh. Providing feedback. Our personal filters, assumptions, judgments, and beliefs can distort what we hear. Reflect on what has been said by paraphrasing. What I'm hearing is, and sounds like you are saying, are great ways to reflect back. Ask questions to clarify certain points. What do you mean when you say, or is this what you mean? Summarizing the speaker's comments periodically. Defer judgment. Interrupting is a waste of time. It frustrates the speaker and limits full understanding of the message. Allow the speaker to finish each point before asking questions. Don't interrupt with counter arguments. Respond appropriately. Active listening is designed to encourage respect and understanding. You are gaining information and perspective. You add nothing by attacking the speaker or otherwise putting her down. Be candid, open, and honest in your response. Assert your opinions respectfully. Treat the other person in a way that you think they would want to be treated. So now is where you guys get to share some of your thoughts. So what signifies to you that someone is actively listening when you are speaking? And you can add that into the chat box. Eye contact, looking at me, head nodding, the touch of your hand, touch, smiling, now they're going by too quick. Eye contact, responding, body language, eye contact for sure, smiling, asking questions, shoulders towards me, no multitasking, so don't sit there on your cell phone while the person's talking. Leaning forward slightly, laughing, eye level, shaking your head yes, active listening with affirmations, repeat what I say. Very good. Some great pieces in there to show that someone is actively listening to you. Thank you for sharing those. Next slide. So the next one is about engaging everyone. So don't plan opportunities for those we serve without involving them in the process and design. So the Wisdom of the Elder signature program at Schlegel Villages encourages residents in the decision-making and the running of programs and events. We think of our residents' councils, where our team members support the residents to meet monthly to discuss an action, whatever they may have on their agendas. Also, they host food committee meetings to discuss the menus with our food services departments. Residents often get invited to help with interviews and actually conduct the interviews on behalf of the team for our new team members. They also are encouraged to volunteer within their homes and their communities. For our Elder Wisdom campaign, residents have been involved from day one, helping to build and paint the benches, deciding on who to invite or where to set up, writing thank you cards to the participants, and so much more. As well as involving residents, we found a team member who is passionate about elder wisdom to support in their local community events, engage with residents, and help in the decision-making process. So that's at the local village. That team member works alongside those residents at that village to come up with that plan. So as part of engaging everyone, we like to invite, encourage, support, and thank. I love this photo. We were downtown Toronto at the one event in 2016 where we had multiple residents and benches there. The one resident says, "I want to go on the train," and ended up being very quickly that everybody wanted to go on the train. So we ended up stopping the event and everybody went to the train and took this ride around. Neat train that's just outside the CN Tower in Toronto. Such a fun experience for everybody. Next on our list is asking great questions. Plan out what types of questions you want to ask that unlock the stories and wisdom of the elder. Knowing what you want to know and choosing carefully. Think of your first question to gather a variety of topics and consider each topic as a door. If you ask someone, what gives you joy in your day? You may get an answer of a good cup of coffee, a walk in the park, and visiting with my grandchildren. This gives you 3 doors to move the conversation along. You may then choose to ask about how many grandchildren they have, or to ask what is their favorite park to walk in, depending on which topics you want to drive. So having those open questions there, which is number 2, asking open questions. While you can only answer closed questions with a yes or no or direct answer, with an open one, the person can answer as they like, and you can then continue the conversation as long as you like. Being mindful of how much, or being mindful not to steer the conversation, of how much you are steering the conversation can challenge that. Maximizing curiosity while minimizing bias and other preconceptions about the person. Focus on being humble and not confrontational. Going with the flow. Sometimes people get off topic. Recognize this, relax, and don't steer too much, as there will be probably an opportunity for you to bridge the conversation toward the subject you were looking to talk about. And less is more. Keep your questions simple. Consider this question. Why did you start doing this? What inspired you? And what do you hope to achieve? Much more difficult for someone to answer, as there are 3 questions within that one. Break it up and ask one at a time. The last one on the slide is creating safety. Don't let fear and insecurity replace curiosity in your conversation. To get to a deeper conversation, you need to make the respondent to feel the way that they can share and do what they want without fearing their answers are not good enough or too weird. Oops. And then the creative accessibility, unique and supportive ways for people to discover and engage in your program. Thinking beyond the walls of our villages to create purposeful inclusion. We strive to engage with our communities, whether we welcome the local Scouts group into the village or bring a panel of elders to share at a conference. There is a sense of inclusion. Our teams are creative and think outside the box when deciding how to connect residents with their communities. For example, connecting with the Indigenous community to share education, or borrowing boxing gloves to engage with a former pro boxer who is now living with dementia. Connecting a 103-year-old with a high school class to discuss faith and family. Volunteering through video chat to support a senior painter. A radio show invited seniors to share as co-hosts of the morning show. We invited family and friends to send personalized Valentines to their loved ones while they were unable to visit this past February. And team members and residents visiting their local pride on the Elder Wisdom Bench. A powerful story behind this photo of this lovely person joining an elder on the green bench, where there was a welcoming feeling of acceptance and love. The elder learned so much about the struggles queer youth feel every day and was able to offer her thoughts and support. This clip here was created in 2019, ahead of our 2019 Green Bench events out in the community. The former Governor General of Canada, David Johnston, sits alongside our founder, Ron Schlegel, to discuss the importance of social connectedness and inclusion to decrease isolation. I'll let you listen to that.
One of the factors for aging well is social connectedness, relating to other people.
Yeah.
We're essentially social beings.
Yeah. And I think isolation is one of the great problems in our society. Isolation of older people that seem to become detached from those roots, and isolation of younger people who don't feel an identification with others, or certainly anybody over a certain age.
It's really important, I think, this green bench, to have it sitting in public places, public spaces. Seniors have so much to give. Mm-hmm. What wisdom do elders have that should be shared with other generations?
I would say all the important things in life I've learned from my children. Mm-hmm. Observing them grow and being part of their life has given me an entirely new perspective on, I think, who I am and what is my place in the world. It's the joy of helping others, helping them accomplish their goals, learn how to overcome obstacles, etc. And I think that is a very important feature of modern life. And I suppose that's why I believe in the wisdom of elders, that you can teach, instruct, advise on that empathy and walk on the other person's shoes and often give that person a hand up.
So the joy of helping others.
Right on.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this conversation.
Just a side note on that video. David and Ron have a great connection, and part of our Elder Wisdom podcast, which we'll talk about shortly. We have an episode coming out actually next week that will feature the Right Honorable David Johnston joining us as our guest. So great to have the wisdom of those who are connected to us. So a little bit about our podcast. So the launch of the podcast was October 13th, 2020. Created because of the pandemic, and we needed to find another way to connect the residents with their community. Within 6 months, we had 10,000 downloads. We were releasing episodes every 2 weeks. It was a bi-weekly podcast, and it was amazing to have that 10,000 downloads in the 6 months. Our highest reach on the Apple podcast charts was the 4th position, and that was actually only 3 days ago that we hit that. Right now, I believe we're in 10th spot on the charts, so you can find the podcast. Listeners in over 100 countries. It's great to have the analytics within our podcast platform. We use Podbean podcasting. They give the analytics of which countries are listening in. And I did a count. We have over 100 countries the last time I did that count. In the top 10 society and culture podcasts in the 2021 Podcast Awards last summer. Guests include residents of Schlegel Villages, team members of our villages, industry leaders, and public figures. I put in public figures, we had Steve Smith, who plays Red Green, join us on the podcast. So if you like Red Green, you'll enjoy that episode. We hit the 10,000 downloads in 6 months. We hit 50,000 downloads in December of 2021, and we're just shy of 60,000 downloads, which we should hit in the next few days. And we are currently in our second season of the podcast. Our first season had 32 episodes, and then and we did 2 bonus episodes as part of that. So there's 34 through 2020 and 2021. We've decided to break it up this year, and we're going to do seasons of 6 episodes each, so we can come up with a theme and build that in place. So we're currently in season 2. Erin Davis and Lloyd Hetherington were our co-hosts. Erin Davis built a career as a morning radio host whose voice is familiar to hundreds of thousands of Toronto area listeners. Today, she is a best-selling author, keynote speaker, interviewer, and storyteller with a gift for conversation that brightens up each of our episodes. As far as hiring a professional, we also decided we wanted to have one of our residents as the co-host, so that we always had a resident attached to our podcast. A full application process with interviews took place across the villages to find our co-host, Lloyd Hetherington, who's on the bench there with Erin. Lloyd is passionate about education, spending most of his work life as an officer with the Salvation Army all across Canada and in the heart of Central Africa. He's a proud father, grandfather, and he believes that no matter your age, there is always something to offer and learn. He inspires others to find wisdom in their pursuit of education. One of his quotes, "A position of co-host has the experience of a lifetime for me. I've grown in many, many ways with friendships, knowledge, and a new lease on life." Unfortunately, Lloyd did pass away last month after a few months of declining health, and we had to move forward and search for our next co-host with Lloyd's support and blessing in that. So we went through the application process again across the organization and had interviews with about 6 different seniors across the villages, and came up with Doug as the successful candidate. Doug Robinson, a resident of the village of Sandalwood Park in Brampton, originally from England. Doug made a beautiful life in Canada alongside his wife of 62 years. He lives by a light of a personal philosophy to always stay positive, and that served him well through a career in hospitality and as a parent and grandparent. He was the first guest on the podcast back in October of 2020 and says he's excited to be part of the team moving forward alongside co-host Erin Davis, with whom he's built a natural chemistry. So we launched season 2 in February. We've got 2 episodes out. The 3rd episode comes out next week, and so on the bi-weekly episodes that are there. Just a note to you that QR code in the bottom left corner of the slides, that will take you to our Schlegel Villages website. That will show you all the episodes that we have. Currently, there are 36 episodes available, which is the next slide. We have 36 episodes available, and we continue to grow and gain new listeners every episode we put out there. Here's just a little bit of a trailer to highlight this season.
Hi, I'm Erin Davis. Elder Wisdom, Stories from the Green Bench. It's a virtual place to share, learn, grow, laugh, and yeah, sometimes shed a tear or 2. So join us as we speak with and listen to seniors and those working in senior.
Oh,
in your care. Subscribe to our podcast today. And remember, your seat on the green bench is ready and waiting.
So that's kind of the sound bite of how the episode would go. Erin and Doug interview the variety of guests that we have on the show. Conversations are a wide variety. Life, love, family, relationships, careers, hobbies, growing up, dementia, humor, community, music, aging, ageism, giving back, and so much more, depending on the guest and what story they want to share. With each episode, we do create these quotes. My wife moved next door to me when she was 6 years old. Always work it out. Always think about it in the light of day. You are more important than You are more important than things that are easily acquired. Hope is the greatest encouragement we can give one another. You don't have to be brilliant to be wise. Life is the curriculum. When we really listen to their story, we can learn from that. We don't have to like or love something in order to accept it. I learned to play the piano at 78 and wrote my first book at 85. My first successful surgery was on a cob of corn. Patience is so important to going through life. So those quotes we like to create through each episode and then share that on social media. Next slide, I'd like you to go back to the chat box and answer this question. If you were to sit on the Elder Wisdom bench with anyone, who would you choose to join for a conversation? My granny, my father, my sister, my grandmother, of course, my dad, my grandmother, Jimmy Carter, Queen Elizabeth, the Beatles, President Reagan. Now they're going by really quick. Dolly Parton, that would be an interesting one. Martin Luther King Jr. I always said Betty White for me. I think that would be an amazing conversation. Oh, somebody else saw that too. Love that. Thank you for answering that. Just a few asks of you as we continue to grow our Elder Wisdom message. The podcast is available on all platforms. I saw in the chat box asking about Audible. It is there as well. So we ask you to subscribe, rate, and review the Elder Wisdom Stories from the Green Bench podcast wherever you listen. We do have the reviews on Apple are the most beneficial to us. Although reviews anywhere is great, but Apple does create the charts and reviews on there brings you up in the charts. And the higher you are up in the charts, the more comments and shares and likes that you get on your podcast, the more people that will find it as you show up in there. I know Spotify also just launched. You can give a star rating inside Spotify on the mobile device. So a few reviews that are there. And you can scan that QR code in order to get there, or you can just search Elder Wisdom on any of these platforms to get it. Secondly, I'd ask for you to take the Elder Wisdom Pledge with us. The pledge reads, I pledge to restore to a place of reverence the elders of our society, honoring the wisdom our oldest citizens have gained through a lifetime of trials, tribulations, joys, and successes. I further vow to end ageism, once and for all, counting this unjust form of prejudice unacceptable. So we're actually going to take a moment. I'm going to unshare my screen, and Charles is going to share his. Stop share. We're going to take that pledge now. So if you can click the link in your chat.
Yeah. So Ted, thank you so much. I'm really excited, everyone, to do this with you. In the chat, we put the link of the pledge. And I would like to challenge you, invite everyone to actually go to that web address and take the pledge with us. So just so you all know, and Ted, FYI, we were at 344 prior to the webinar. I actually filled it, but as we were sharing the link, we already have Rachel, Shliana, Stacy, Lori, Louise, Margaret, and Michelle take it. So I've already put my email. Yeah, so it's awesome. So I've already put my email, so it's not going to work. And she doesn't know, but what I'm going to do, with your permission, Ted, is I'm going to actually put my wife's, and she's probably going to wonder what's happening. But I'll tell her tonight. And what I'd love to do is invite all of you to do this together now and click submit, right? So just put your name, your email, your city, your state, country, and then just click submit. And let's see in a few minutes where this is real time, Ted, right?
Yeah. What I love after you submit, there is a button there to share on your social channels as well. So you could also tweet it directly from there if you so wish.
And I forgot to do this. Let me, you know what, I'm going to do it again if that's okay. I'm going to put my personal email so that everybody sees me do it. Is that okay, Ted?
That is fine, yeah.
All right.
Note that I don't email you often. I was saying to Charles that I probably only email once or twice in a year, usually to promote upcoming event or to launch the podcast and stuff like that. So you're not going to get spammed with a whole bunch of emails from Ted, but thank you very much for adding to your pledges.
And I want to share it also on my Facebook. So let me do that. Actually, I'm going to share it on the Activity Strong page. Can I do that? Yeah. There we go. Okay, so let's see how high the counter has gone now. 402, we passed 400. Amazing. Okay, back at you, Ted. Thanks.
Thanks everybody for that. Now I got to figure out sharing my screen again. There we go. So the pledge. And then the last thing on here is I encourage you to join the global conversation. Share about an elder who inspires you, words of wisdom offered to you, or amazing stories of seniors around you. I'll be keeping an eye out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I keep an eye on all those with the hashtag. So post something today or in the next couple of days that highlights a senior or the wisdom a senior has offered you. Just be sure to use the hashtag elder wisdom on your post, and that allows us to find it and engage and share your message further. You can also add in the old people are cool hashtag, and I'm sure Charles and Megan will engage with you as well through that push. And that's what a social media campaign does. Using a hashtag, it's a global conversation at that point. That is all on my slides. Not too bad in time, although.
This is perfect, Ted. Thank you so much. I know our audience is going to walk away today with a lot of great ideas. And in the time we have left, I did have a quick question. If you were to give folks maybe 3 tips, if they wanted to create something similar to the Elder Wisdom campaign in their own communities, what would those 3 tips be?
Well, I talked about it involving everybody. So pull a team together, sit down, brainstorm what that could look like. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be as simple as, you know what, we're going to get a social group together. Could even be like a men's club and how you design a men's club. You're going to sit down and plan for that. Number 2 is make sure people are aware, promote and share that, whether it's this is what we did, because sharing that message with the community, whether it's through social media or within your own home or your workplace, you want to get people involved in what's happening. So create that promotional piece for what you're doing. And number 3 is have fun with it, right?
Love it. That is perfect, Ted. Thank you so much for your time today. And I'm just going to share my screen and give everyone a couple of last minute messages here, including we partnered with Ted. So Ted, thank you so much for partnering with us on this co-branded tip sheet. So you can go ahead and download that today. Charles will put the link in the chat box for you to get ideas on how you can also support elders and bring wisdom, like Ted is doing with the Green Bench and the Elder Wisdom Initiative. And from here we go here for Ted. So if you have any questions that we didn't get to today that you'd like to ask Ted, we put Ted's email address there. And if you have anything you'd like to talk to Charles about, his email is here as well. We will be sending out the recording and PowerPoint deck this afternoon, so stay tuned for that. And I am happy to share that Ted and I will be at the Pioneer Network Conference at the end of July this year. We'll be presenting together a session called A Person is a Person, No Matter How Old. So if you'll be at that conference, we'll look forward to seeing you at our session.
Excited about that, Megan.
Me too. And then our Activity Strong calendar. So you'll see there's a link here to all of our upcoming events, and any past events, you'll see there will be a link to the recording on that particular webpage. Our next webinar is going to be April 12th, so we'll hope to see you there. And last but definitely not least is we are running a contest right now. So talking about combating ageism, we've partnered with the Art Against Ageism organization for an art contest. Charles will drop the details in the chat box, and you can win 50 Old People Are Cool stickers and the chance to be featured on our April 26th webinar. So with that, I'm going to wish everyone a good afternoon and rest of your day. And Ted, thank you again, and we will see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Hey, Ted, one quick question. Guess how many people took the pledge?
200.
430.
430 took the pledge.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Thanks so much, Ted. Take care. Have a good afternoon. Cheers.